Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I am your host, the Evil Dungeon Master Vince, and welcome back to the podcast. Hopefully, you had a great day. It is Thursday, one more day before the weekend when we start doing weekend stuff. Hopefully, your weekend stuff is gaming and spending time with your family and not working. If you're working, I do apologize, and you probably have days off on different days. And I've been there, so I understand. Anyway, thanks for joining me here in the podcast. We are doing wonderful. We are building a great community here with this podcast. I noticed that when I woke up this morning, a post I had put up on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, kind of blew up and went to the 3K range. I don't know why. All I did was put up that I was going to bed and reading a Riffs book. And people seem to like it. I don't know. You can't tell with these things how they blow up. But what I can say is it did affect my podcast. I got a massive amount of downloads in the last 24 hours, in the last couple episodes. So I thank those people. Hopefully those people enjoyed those episodes and are now new listeners to the podcast. And if you are a new listener, you can head to theevildm.com, my website, where you can contact me, read about what's going on, all the actual plays and solo plays I do, and YouTube channel as well. youtube.com/theevildm is where I do most of my stuff. With that all out of the way, I had an email this morning from Rebecca S., and she asked me if I can tell her what my favorite dragon is when I play Dungeons & Dragons. Well, she doesn't mention an edition or ask about an edition, so I'm going to go with my always default edition, and that would be AD&D 1E. And my favorite dragon is a blue dragon, believe it or not. I love playing dragons. There's two things that I like playing: demons and dragons. Dragons being probably a little bit more fun to play because of the aura and the mystique about them and how they act and how they can be played. Now, a couple things I wanted to go over before we talk about the dragon itself is that in AD&D 1E Monster Manual on page 30, I had to look at the book here, it does go over some things about attacking a dragon, sleeping dragon, and some things that I often forget when playing a dragon. And I wanted to go over those things quickly because it's kind of interesting, because if you look at later editions, you could see that they've taken what we have here and kind of ramped it up a little bit, because I was looking at the D&D 3E Monster Manual as well, and they, which was kind of based off a lot of old school stuff when they rewrote it. But I looked at that stuff, and it does have a lot of the stuff I'm about to talk about here, which is about something like when a dragon flies overhead or charges, the kind of the fear factor and the aura around a dragon. If a dragon is flying overhead or it's charging somewhere, all creatures under one hit die, as well as non-carnivore creatures of any sort, are not trained for warfare, will basically be feared, will become fear and aggressive and flee in panic, just trying to get away from this dragon and attacking anything in its way. Creatures with less than 3 hit dice must make a saving throw versus magic or be paralyzed with fear 50%, and panic is above 50%, so it could be depending. Creatures with 3 or more hit dice will fight at a penalty of -1 on their hit dice unless they also save versus magic. Creatures with 6 or more hit dice automatically disregard the aura effect. The aura of an adult, old, or very old dragons is not as powerful as an ancient dragon, so the saving throw applicable to their auras are at 5, 3, and 1 respectively. Thus, a second level fighter normally having a score of 16, 75% or better to save against magic, the dragon's aura in this case would gain a bonus of +5 on his saving throw versus adult dragon, an ability score of 11 or more would save him from panic. Perfect. So, attacking a dragon, you can kill it or subdue it, obviously. And subduing it was something that we always did in older editions of Dungeons & Dragons. But something that I found interesting, which I always forget about, is when you're attacking a dragon, that certain types of weapons are more effective against the types of dragons that you're fighting. Depending on what type of weapon uh, can do a little bit more damage or hit a little bit more or something like that, depending if they're a fire dragon, using cold or water against it would be a little more effective, things like that. And there's a whole chart over here that kind of goes over it. And breath weapons, something that a lot of people kind of forget how they work. And I've seen a lot of DMs do a breath weapon a little bit weird. And there's only a really small little paragraph on page 30 that talks about it, and then it's only like a sentence. But I've seen a lot of DMs do it, like when they see the damage on the thing says like this slash, and then it has a bigger amount. And that's what they use for the damage of the breath weapon. No, that's not how it works. In 1E, a dragon can breathe 3 times. That's it. Well, not entirely its life, but 3 times that day, or that melee, pretty much. And you as a GM can choose when that dragon does its breath weapon, or you can roll, and it gives you an idea. Anything above a 50%, the dragon will breathe. Otherwise, it won't breathe. I would think the dragon would probably start most attacks off with a breath weapon, just to try to get an advantage over the characters, and move forward from there. And then try to attack. And then once it sees this, kind of losing situation, it's going to use a breath weapon again. And save that one breath weapon at the end as maybe in a way to an escape or get an upper hand to kill everybody. But anyway, other than what the cone shape of the breath weapon is or how it is, like the blue dragon is a bolt of lightning. The breath weapon causes damage equal to the dragon's hit points. So whatever the dragon's hit points are is the damage that the breath weapon does. And a saving throw is made, you do half the amount of the breath weapon hit points. So keep that in mind. Then we go over to page 31, where we get our blue dragon. And this is kind of my favorite dragon that I liked. Why I like this blue dragon, I don't know. Particularly because I think it was different and it's blue, and I've never, in cartoons and games and everything, there's never really a blue dragon. I mean, you see gold, you'll see silver, you'll see black, you'll see red, you'll see green, but you never see blue. I mean, copper and brass are probably different, but that's kind of close to a gold dragon in a sense, so crystal dragons, when it comes later on in books, are something different too, but I mean, you see black dragons all the time. You're like, ooh, evil black dragon. So blue dragon, Draco Electricus, I like how they put the Latin kind of things next to it, are appearing 1 to 2, has an armor class of 2, has a movement of 9/24, so 24 would be when flying, 9 would be on ground, hit dice of 8 to 10, so you're looking at, 64 to 80 hit points total, if maximum, on both sides there. 50% chance it's in its lair. Treasure types are H and S, which is another story. Number of attacks, he gets 3, and this is where I see most DMs do this mistake. 1 to 6, 1 to 6, 3 to 24. They think the breath weapon is 3 to 24 points of damage, which it is not. It'll be doing, 80 something points of damage each time it does a breath weapon. Special attacks are breath weapon plus magic use. So this dragon is definitely intelligent because it could speak. Does it want to speak to people? Probably. I've always spoken. It's a lawful evil dragon. Its magic resistance is standard, so there's nothing really special about it. It has no psionic abilities or attack mode. And chances of speaking is 60%. Chances of using magic would be 30%. Sleeping, 30%. So these are things you have to roll ahead of time. When you're doing this, unless it's like a random thing that you generated up and Blue Dragon happens to be on that random encounters. But I generally will go with a speaking dragon because he's lawful evil. There's chances are he will strike some type of deal, or he might be rationalized with depending on what the situation is. But blue dragons prefer prefer deserts and arid lands, unlike their counterparts that usually lives in caves or underground layer things or caverns. The attack of a blue dragon is a claw bite, and its use of breath weapon. A blue dragon is capable of discharging a bolt of electricity, lightning, in a straight line, half-inch wide, 10 feet long. This discharge is always of the stated proportion, so it doesn't really change at all if he's flying or if he's thrown to the side or does a barrel roll, which would be kind of funny thinking about it. Speaking blue dragons, which are able to use spells, do the following. For each stage of maturity, 1st through 3rd, they gain a 1-level spell. From 4th through 6th, they gain a 2nd level spell. 7th through 8th, the brackets, they gain 3 spells, blah, 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 blah. You have to roll the spells, and they generally can use them only once per day. If you roll the same spell twice when doing random spell things, they can do that spell twice per day. Now, will these blue dragons actually have a conversation? Yeah. In my games, dragons will have conversations with people, and generally any monster that is somewhat intelligent that can speak will hold conversations with players if the player says something that would trigger them to have a conversation. Now, if you're going to go into a blue dragon's lair, we'll say you're in the middle of, I don't know, some type of dry land area, you happen upon a lair of a blue dragon, which I'm not sure what a lair of a blue dragon would exactly look like because of where they are. But thinking of arid lands, that's kind of like the dry area. If we're in the United States, we're thinking like Arizona, California, going in that area over there where it's really dry. And where a dragon would be exactly, it's kind of a tough call. I would think he'd be hiding somewhere out of the way. I mean, he's not known to be in a cavern or a cave, but he could use an alcove inside of a mountain as his lair, because who's going to steal his shit? He's a dragon. I mean, you're going to go in there and steal dragon stuff? Go for it. We'll see what happens. He would have a normal lair, and these type of dragons, especially ones lawful evil that can speak, would probably be torturing a town. I'm pretty sure this dragon would want a tribute of some kind and do the whole mobster protection of a town, saying, he would land in the town and he wanted to speak to the elder of the town and saying, "You will deliver me 3 oxens every other week, or something horrible will happen to your people. Bring the oxen to blah, 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 blah. If you do not, I will destroy your village. Provide me with the food I ask, and you will live a peaceful, happy life under my protection." And the dragon will go away and see what happens. And this is an excellent actual hook for a campaign. Oh, maybe not a full campaign, but a starter thing for your characters. They come to this town and they get in there, and they notice that the town is getting a little worried, and people are running around scrambling, trying to get these oxens and various tributes to the dragon. And your players start asking questions, and like, well, we're going to feed the dragon. The dragon has, and then the mayor's like, "We need your help. This dragon is draining us dry. We have to keep giving them oxen every other week and these type of foods, and they keep demanding shiny gold and stuff like that for their pleasure." And it's just, look at our town. And you can see the town is distraught and everything like that. So it's a hook you can use. We need your help. The players, where is the dragon's cave? Well, we bring the tribute out here, and they give them directions, and the players maybe can go scope it out for the first time and see how it works. Because that's how I would do it as a player. I would go there and try to hide and watch them give the tribute and see what the dragon does, see what the area is. Dragon comes, gets his oxen and his gold, and leaves. You follow him. If he just kind of does this thing, eats it, takes his gold, and walks off to the side, he's kind of in the area. But you can also plan from there. So there's a hook also involved in this. Yeah, so my favorite dragon is definitely the blue dragon. Again, I've never usually seen it in different, I guess, fiction, movies, whatever. So I thought it'd be something interesting. All right, I'm going to head out. With that said, don't forget to email me, askthedm at theevildm.com, and I will answer your questions as well. So with that said, keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, and God bless everybody.